Are you tired of living life by someone else's rulebook? This year, it's time to break free from outdated expectations and create a life that's truly yours. Let me show you 10 social norms that you need to ditch this year and what you should embrace instead to start designing your abundant aesthetic life. My whole life, I've done things different. I always wanted a different outcome. People thought I was reaching too high or being unrealistic, but I knew if I wanted a life that looked different, I had to throw out the normal ways of doing things. Growing up as a child of immigrant parents, I was raised by the media, so I was kind of surrounded by the pressure of how life was supposed to look. I guess when I was growing up, I didn't have really good examples of a certain lifestyle that I wanted. I didn't want to be stuck in a small town doing the same thing over and over, because if you just go by what everyone says, you're not going to get what you want. But deep down, I always wanted more, and that's why I'm making this video, to inspire you to stop living by what society tells you to do and start building a life that feels right for you. Number 1, ditch the 9-to-5 mindset. I never really had a traditional 9-to-5 job, and honestly, I don't think I'll ever will. I was waitressing for the longest time, and when I was doing that, I was finding other entrepreneurship opportunities, business opportunities, and sure, I had jobs throughout my life to pay the bills, but I always knew that they were temporary while I worked on something bigger on the side. I explored everything from like sales to like side hustles to businesses, finding my way, building towards what I wanted. I learned early through experience being part of a multi-level marketing business and reading Rich Dad and Poor Dad. I actually learned that when I was 16 years old. Didn't realize that's such a very powerful book until now. It's crazy that I discovered that when I was 16 years old, and thanks to my brother getting me into that type of business, I learned a lot from there, a lot of good mindsets. After reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I realized I didn't want to be in that corporate grind, working just to pay off your home and all that. So if I had stuck to the 9-to-5 path, I wouldn't be living in Vietnam right now, by the beach, homeschooling my girls, and designing my life on my own terms. So flexibility is key, so be your own boss and start designing your dream life today. Number 2, stop thinking home ownership is the ultimate goal. Everyone told me that owning a home was the ultimate goal at the end. Like my parents, aunts and uncles, cousins and friends and everyone. Even when I was working at my one job, when I was waitressing, everyone was buying homes and I felt I was left out, and finally got a starter home, and really it wasn't all that. But yeah, it was a good start how I built my wealth. So good thing I did, but as right now, I don't really think it's the ultimate goal. But yes, it is nice to have a big home and a place to call your own. But I just learned that you can just make any space your home. So whether you rent or own, it all depends on what stage you're at in life. So if you already have millions in your bank account, go ahead, buy a home. But it really depends on your stage of life. And I feel like people that are just starting off doesn't need to buy a home right away. And that's what most traditional people say, this is like, get married, get a home, and then have a kid. Really, you don't have to do that, okay? So I'm letting you guys know that. You don't have to have a starter home to start your life. You can rent and save all your money and invest it. So yes, like I said, it's nice to have a big home and a place to call your home, but I learned that you can make any space your home, whether you rent or own. It all depends on what stage you're at in life. Right now, for me and my husband, I'm focused on investing my money to make more money in the markets. Because right now, I'd rather have my money working for me in the markets than tied up in a house that doesn't bring much return, especially with how the housing market is in Canada. I know it's getting better now, but I just really don't think it's worth it right now. So to me, I would not recommend to go that route. When my husband, I thought we needed a bigger home after the pandemic. We were planning for another lockdown, so we signed up to build a new house. And once we got the house, the interest rates were skyrocket high. It didn't make financial sense to have it anymore. It wasn't worth it anymore. That reality hit. We didn't want to be stuck paying off a huge mortgage. Instead, we chose to sell and invest and free ourselves from the burden of home ownership and all the expenses that come along with that. So by renting, we now have that freedom to travel and live without that constant expense or commitment of owning a home. So selling our beautiful big home was seen as crazy by our families, that we're not struggling. thing. We have full control over our time and money now, and that's priceless to us. Renting gives us that flexibility to create an affordable home base while still being free to travel when we want. We're not tied down, and now we can use our savings to invest in the markets and experience and opportunities that align with our values. It's not about following the traditional must own a home mentality. It's all about designing a life that prioritizes freedom, flexibility, and the things that truly matter to us. Number 3, don't chase every social media trend. I can say that I was chasing a lot of social media trends back then with fashion. I used to buy like the latest fashion things, home stuff, and all that. I used to scroll endlessly, but I only use it for personal growth and business now. I have unfollowed content that doesn't inspire or align with my goals anymore. I've cut out gossip, like celebrity gossip news. What else do I cut out? I don't really watch the latest news, like local news and all that. I just took out all the content that doesn't really align with my values anymore. So instead, I focus on things like homeschool content for my girls so I can learn and grow from there, and personal growth, of course, self-care, and some just fashion inspiration in a different way, just to inspire what I have now and to how to style it. So not like buying fashion clothes, more like styling fashion now. Best trend you can follow is just being yourself, build your personal brand authentically, and focus on what matters to you, not what everyone else is doing. And I know that's hard, but I know you can do it. Now, we still need to cover a few other things, but before we dive into them, I need you to hit that subscribe button. You're thinking about designing your own life and creating the freedom you deserve. Number 4, rethink traditional education for your kids. So my girls have experienced different types of schoolings, including part-time, private school, and online public school, but most of the education has come from homeschooling. I don't believe in the traditional 8 hours, 5 days a week system because it's designed to prepare kids for the same 9-to-5 grind I want to avoid. Homeschooling gives us the flexibility to prioritize family time and flexible learning and experience that go beyond the classroom, allowing my girls to think for themselves and pursue their passions from an early age. If I don't want the traditional 9-to-5 lifestyle for myself, why would I put my kids into that school? Does that make sense? I certainly don't want that for my kids, and I believe kids shouldn't be stuck behind desks for hours a day, especially when you're working hard to break free from that system that you're sitting at a desk for 7 to 8 hours. I want my girls to grow up knowing that they have choices in how they learn and how they spend their time, rather than being confined to a structure that doesn't align with our values. I also reject the idea that kids need to be grouped by age. I believe that kids need to learn how to deal with all different type of ages. So whether it's homeschooling, world schooling, or a more flexible schedule, kids can thrive in environments that prioritize their emotion and social growth without being stuck in a traditional school system that limits their potential. I'm back here at another cafe. It's another day, and let's finish up this video. Number 5. Say goodbye to people pleasing. I'll never forget the moment I decided to set boundaries for myself. It was when I found my faith and I realized I was ready to change. I stopped saying yes to everything and everyone, which meant no longer going out every weekend to parties or hanging out with certain people who didn't align where I was heading. I made a tough decision to leave my hometown, sold everything. There's one time we sold our business and sold our home and moved to another town. And then there was this big leap that we sold our home to move half across the world. And we basically moved away to create a life that was truly ours. It wasn't easy, but I knew staying in the same routine would only keep me stuck in the same position that I didn't want to be in. I wanted more for myself and my kids and my family and my husband. I wanted to experience life on my terms, not live accordingly to other people's expectation. When we made those choices to homeschool and live differently, my life started actually feeling more fulfilled. I felt more complete. I felt like I was doing things on my own terms than basically doing what everyone else was doing and following what everyone wanted me to do. I felt like I started taking what's mine back, my life, and the decisions that I wanted to make, and not letting anyone influence me on those decisions. Basically, I wanted to experience life on my own terms and not live according to others people's expectations. When we made that choice to homeschool and live differently, my life started to feel more fulfilled. I used to be a people pleaser pleaser, and I feel like sometimes I do that when I meet people. I'm making sure that I can be aware of that and stop that, because that's not who I want to be, because I do notice I do that when I meet new people, but I'm not trying to be friends with everyone, so I don't need to please everyone. I'm just going to be myself and do things how I feel and not let other people influence me on that. I always gave my energy to others and trying to make sure they feel good, but I realized how draining that was. So I started saying no to things that didn't align with my goals, or no to people that weren't going the same way as I, so I stopped doing that. It wasn't easy at first, but I did set some boundaries for myself and my life and for my family, and then I noticed that things started to shift in my life, which feels so much better now. So now I focus what truly matters to me, my family, my happiness, and our future. Life is too short to please everyone. I choose peace, purpose, and growth. Number 6, stop believing stability means staying in one place. This is a huge thing for me, because my whole life I always thought I was gonna live in Canada and be near my mom and dad and be near my brothers, just having certain people around and living in a certain community, because that's all I seen my whole life. And yeah, I never thought to living anywhere else. I always just thought Canada was gonna be my home base and I was just gonna travel out. But things have changed since I have a different perspective after traveling to different places and experiencing different locations of living. So as an expat in Vietnam now, I learned that stability doesn't mean staying in one place forever. Life changes, and that's okay. Right now, Vietnam feels like it's right for us for now, for my family, but who knows where future will take us. I really think my mind might change in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years. When my girls are older, they might have an opinion of where they might want to live. They might want to go back to Canada, or they might like it in Vietnam, or we can try something new. Like I always thought Japan or even Singapore. We'll see where it goes, right? We really don't know where the future's going to take us. So all I'm saying is life is all about flexibility and growth. Don't feel like you have to settle down just because it's normal. Just be open to change and go where your heart leads you, because that's what I did. I just had a little bit of faith that things would turn out to be right, and really follow your heart, your gut feeling, and just go do it. Number 7, let go of materialism. When we sold most of our belongings back in Canada to move to Vietnam, I realized how much stuff I had and realized how little of it really mattered. There was a lot of things that were sentimental to me, but I forgot about it because they were boxed away. When I did see it, it did bring back like memories and like feelings. However, what I did is what I do with most things that we have to donate, or the girls' pictures that they draw. I always just take pictures and put it in folders so I can always look back at it versus had it physically with me. That's something that has changed a lot for me, that I'm starting to buy less things. Now I focus on like more experiences, family, and personal growth. That's something that I prioritize more than material things. Sure, I still enjoy like fashion and nice things, but they don't define my happiness anymore. With fashion, I always wait until like a week later to see if I still want it or not. And if I do buy something, I go back in my closet and try to take 1 or 2 things out, so I don't collect so many clothes. Unless I start finding a home base that I'm gonna have a nice closet full of quality clothes, and that's fine. But I try not buying clothes anymore. It's too much and I don't wear it all. I'm all about comfort now in style. I try just to style all my clothes and mix and match it, or just be very simple and not overcomplicate my fashion. And sometimes I do like dressing up and taking photos, because that's something I used to love doing when I was younger until now. But other than that, I'm just saying it doesn't define my happiness. I recommend you guys to teach your kids to value experience over possessions, and you'll see how much fulfilling life becomes. I notice a big difference that I don't over give my kids things anymore, because I feel like they appreciate things more when I do buy them something. Once in a while, they appreciate more and take care of it more, because I noticed before when I just bought them so many things, they would just not take care of it, and it would just be scattered around the house and they will forget about it. Number 8, cultural expectations. So growing up as a Hmong girl in Canada, I faced certain cultural pressures, especially around family gatherings. I remember how at parties, the women would be in the kitchen cooking, and while the men will be at the table sitting. And I didn't like that. I felt like there was no like gathering and like talking and blending together and having good conversation. I just didn't like how they separated us the two and that we always had to be in the kitchen. I understand understand that we can cook, but right now my husband and I, we are both in the kitchen helping each other, and it's not that one is in the kitchen and one's just sitting and doing nothing. If we're both home, we're both going to help each other. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. But yes, the men will be at the table, and I just remember there'll always be a lot of drinking. That was a culture I grew up with, and right now I don't want my kids to grow up in that kind of culture. I just don't believe that drinking has to be a social thing. That's another video that we could talk about, or we can start a conversation in these comments what you guys feel. Anyways, like I said, these traditions never sat right with me, and I think that's why I never ended up marrying a Hmong man. No offense, like I'm just saying I just didn't like the culture, and I always thought that it was going to be me in the future, and I was going to be really unhappy because that's not something I wanted. Like I know my husband right now, he is traditional too at certain points of certain things that women do for men in Vietnamese culture. However, he believes that we both can help each other and help each other grow. I needed someone who wasn't tied up to those traditional roles, and my husband was on that path. He was very open to a different lifestyle with me. However, I learned to embrace my role as a wife and a mother, but I also stay true to my passion for my hobbies and businesses that I love. I do believe every successful family starts with a mom, and that means I still honor my dreams while supporting my family. Okay, so don't get me wrong with that. So that balance is important to me, and I'm no longer afraid to break free from traditions that don't align with my value. I also realize it's okay to respect your roots but not be defined by them. While I still carry parts of my culture with me, I don't need to hold on to traditions that don't fit my life anymore, like the drinking culture or the outdated practices. It's all about choosing what works for me and my family and letting go of what doesn't. Number 5, following trends. Okay, for a while, I felt like I needed to keep up with every trend. It was like fashion or lifestyle, but I realized it's important to focus on what really feels authentic to me. Like for example, I just don't get the tech trend. Everyone's always rushing to getting the latest like iPhones and all that, but for me, it's more using what I have until it actually breaks. Like I have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and that was a big thing for me because it was a Pro Max. Anything Pro Max, it doesn't matter if it was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever it was. It's just if it was a Pro Max, that was already spending a lot of money because usually they're more expensive because they have better camera quality. But other than that, until my phone breaks or my husband's phone breaks, then we'll decide to buy a new phone because that's not really good for the environment anyways, and that's just a waste of money. That's what I feel, right? So the point is, there's no need to constantly chase new things all the time. The same goes for fashion. I still love fashion inspiration, but instead of fashion, like buying new fashion trends, I'm all about learning how to style with what you have and to buy quality clothes that will last long, that you can style with different things. That's what I'm all about. So if I was to buy fashion clothes, I'm buying it because of the quality and I know it'll last long and the feel of it, or something that just makes me really happy to wear. I used to follow trends, but I don't anymore. Now I appreciate fashion in like a different way. Like I was saying, focusing on what truly resonates with me and makes me feel amazing. The feeling of it and the look of it and the style of it. So it's all about finding your personal style, not chasing what's in. Number 10, overworking for success. Okay, so I'm guilty for this from last year. I overworked myself because I was trying to figure out this content creation thing. I should have just stuck with, I'm going to learn one thing at a time, which I did focus more on YouTube, as you guys can see, and like got a lot of help, put a lot of investment in to like get my YouTube going and not knowing if it was going to go anywhere. But I do believe this year is my year. So thumbs up if you guys think so. But anyways, I really overworked myself last year that I forgot what I prioritized and missed out on a lot of things that I shouldn't have because life is too short to just overwork yourself, especially that I'm already living my dream life right now. Why am I going to overwork myself when I'm already living my dream life? So really, I had to break free from the idea of working nonstop equals to success. This hit me hard last year. I was so focused on my content and figuring out how to succeed in this whole content creation thing that I completely lost sight of what really mattered to me. I overworked myself to the point that I missed moments with my kids and my husband, and I had to step back and ask myself, even if I hit a certain business goal and all, would I really be happy if I left this world at a sudden knowing I miss the important stuff with my family? The thing is meant to be fun. It's meant to be something I enjoy, not something that stresses me out. So right now, it's all about managing my time in a way that makes me happy and allows me to enjoy the moments moments with my family and do the things I love at the same time. Content creation is something I enjoy, and I don't want to turn it into something negative. I also need to redefine what success means to me. It doesn't have to be all about hitting like 1 million subscribers, like I said. Success for me is all about finding balance with like family and my hobbies and business, but also like just finding that balance between being a mom, a businesswoman, a content creator, a wife, and like my faith and all that, and just being present and enjoying the journey without losing the sight of what truly makes me happy, which is my family and my faith. So these are just a few of the social norms I've ditched. Let me know what others that you have ditched that I haven't mentioned in this video. I would love to hear from you guys all. Hope this video inspires you to start questioning the rules in your life. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Join me on this journey to create an abundant aesthetic life, and let's grow and glow and flourish together. And if you love this video, you should check out this one.